Why did England and France fight for 100 years? The endless conflict that shaped both nations. Imagine a war so long that entire generations were born, fought, and died without ever seeing its end. A war where kings were crowned and then beheaded, where knights charged into battle only to be cut down by rainstorms of arrows, and where even a teenage peasant girl became the most feared warrior in Europe. But here's the real question. Why did England and France fight for over a century? Was it about power? Yes. Was it about glory? Absolutely. Was it about two kings acting like toddlers fighting over a toy? Well, let's just say royal egos played a huge role. But what if I told you that this 100 Years' War wasn't actually one war, but a series of wars, betrayals, and legendary battles that shaped the fate of two of the greatest nations in history? How did a young English king claim the French throne with nothing but a family tree and a sword? Why did the French knights keep charging into battle only to get massacred by English longbowmen? And what about that fearless teenage girl in armor, Joan of Arc, who turned the tide of war with nothing but faith and fire? This is not just a war. This is a saga of kings and commoners, betrayal and bravery, thrones and blood-soaked battlefields. So sharpen your swords, mount your war horses, and get ready, because this is the story of the endless war that shaped England and France forever. And before we charge into battle, make sure to follow us, subscribe, and click that notification button, because history like this deserves to be told. Imagine a war so vast, so relentless, that generations were born, fought, and died without ever seeing its conclusion. A war where kings lost their thrones, kingdoms burned, and peasants starved, all for a crown that neither side could truly claim without bloodshed. This was the 100 Years' War, 1337 to 1453, a century-long clash between England and France that reshaped Europe forever. It was not just a war of kings and castles, but of ambition, betrayal, and sheer endurance. So why did England and France fight for 100 years? Grab your swords, steady your horses, and prepare for a tale of intrigue, betrayal, grand battles, and shattered dreams. And remember, before we storm into battle, make sure to follow us, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification button so you never miss out on the most epic stories in history. In 1328, King Charles IV of France died without a male heir, an absolute disaster in medieval Europe. The French nobles, wary of foreign influence, crowned Philip VI, a cousin from the House of Valois. But across the English Channel, there was another contender, Edward III of England. His mother, Isabella, was Charles IV's sister, and through her, Edward believed he had a rightful claim to the throne of France. France, however, dismissed Edward's claim outright. The French nobility invoked an ancient law, the Salic Law, which stated that no woman nor her descendants could inherit the throne. Edward III did not take this lightly. If the crown of France can be stolen with words, then let us see if it can withstand steel, he reportedly declared in 1337. And so, war was declared. Edward III was not just a claimant, he was a warrior king. His first move hit the French hard and fast. In 1346, he launched a massive invasion, landing with an army in Normandy. This led to the legendary Battle of Crécy, August 26, 1346, where the English longbowmen, armed with 6-foot bows capable of piercing armor, annihilated the French knights. A French knight, moments before being skewered, reportedly gasped, "This is no battle, it is a massacre." Edward's teenage son, the Black Prince, led an attack so ferocious that the battlefield was littered with French corpses. This battle proved that chivalry was dead, and strategy now ruled warfare. Then came the Battle of Poitiers, 1356, where the Black Prince struck again. French King John II was captured and held for ransom in England, leaving France leaderless. It seemed as though England would finally take control of France, but then came an enemy that neither kings nor knights could fight, the Black Death, 1347 to 1351. By 1360, England had won major victories, but the war was far from over. France regrouped under Charles V, a brilliant strategist who refused to meet the English in open battle. Instead, he used guerrilla tactics, attacking supply lines and exhausting the English forces. By 1380, the French had regained most of their lost land. Then came Henry V of England, an ambitious young king who refused to accept defeat. He landed in France in 1415, determined to reclaim his ancestors' glory. This led to one of the greatest battles in history, Agincourt, October 25, 1415. The English were outnumbered 5-1, their men starving and exhausted. The French, confident in their overwhelming numbers, charged headfirst into a muddy battlefield and straight into another longbow slaughter. One French noble reportedly screamed, "God save us! The sky rains arrows," as thousands of knights fell under English fire. It was a catastrophic defeat for France. Henry V then forced the French to sign the Treaty of Troyes 1420, declaring that he would inherit the French throne after the death of King Charles VI. It seemed the war was finally over. But fate had one last trick to play. Just as France was about to fall, a young peasant girl named Joan of Arc arrived at the court of Charles VII, the rightful heir to the French throne. She claimed to have divine visions urging her to drive out the English. The French were desperate. They gave her an army. In 1429, Joan led the French to a miraculous victory at Orléans, rallying soldiers who had lost all hope. One English soldier allegedly muttered, "We are no longer fighting men, we are fighting spirits." Joan was captured by the English in 1430 and burned at the stake in 1431. But her death did not break France, it ignited a revolution. By 1453, the French, using superior tactics and gunpowder weaponry, drove the English out of all territories except Calais. The 100 Years' War had finally ended. The war reshaped Europe. France emerged stronger, England fell into civil war, the Wars of the Roses, and chivalry gave way to modern warfare. The lesson? No kingdom lasts forever, and no war is truly won. The 100 Years' War may be over, but our journey through history is just beginning. Make sure to follow us, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another epic historical adventure. What battle do you want us to cover next? Let us know in the comments. History is written by the survivors, so let's tell their stories together.